We thought all is great in the Gulf in terms of economy. Where's the debt problem then?
Well, I think that's an interesting choice of words. I don't think we really see it as a problem. I think what we see is a maturing of the regional economies. And, if you look at it, the fact that a hedge fund in New York or London would be able to do a transaction with a bank in the UAE or perhaps in Saudi Arabia means that there's some confidence in the bank's ability to look at these portfolios to maybe come to a reasonable assessment and to sit down as counterparties and to work out a transaction. I think some of the problems had been historical. Before we had tax regimes and we had a requirement for audited financials, we had so much liquidity, there was probably just too much money, too easy to borrow, and these things correct themselves. So to us, we see this as a maturing process and also an integration into the global economy.
What kind of assets are we talking about roughly?
Well, that's interesting. I mean, you could have non-performing loans, because we had here many expatriates who didn't necessarily have personal assets to a large scale. You might have businesses that the creditor has left the country, and so it's a non-performing loan, and the enforcement is going to come outside the jurisdiction. I think you also have certain businesses that were a bit over-levered and are going through restructuring. So we could be looking at opportunities in the construction sector, the hospitality sector, the healthcare sector. These are some of the specific ones that we've seen.
Yeah, we've seen the Gulf economy really expanding amazingly over the years. And as you know, in economy, there's always a time for correction. Is there any fear of a correction anytime in the future?
I think it's hard to gaze into the crystal ball and say what could happen in the future. But right now, we certainly are going through an unprecedented time of liquidity here in the region, given where oil prices have been, given the sort of new regimes we have here, the influx of foreign capital. I think we've lived through the correction, but again, we're not isolated from events that are going on in the United States, Europe, or even in certain parts of Asia for that matter. So if there's a correction, we will certainly feel we will feel what's happening on a global level.
Right, but so far, the economy in the Gulf looks like one of the strongest in the world.
Very much so. I mean, you can look at what's happened post-COVID. You can look at what's happened, in recent world events. Things do look quite good here. And as I said, the environment is maturing quite a bit. We have new bankruptcy laws, new restructuring laws, and now foreign creditors coming into the market, trusting in the legal system and trusting in the underlying assets.
All right. Dilip and Masanda, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Good evening.